The world does not stand still. The world goes forward, changing and being updated, and returning often to the old ideas which were voiced hundreds of years ago. Helena Blavatsky thought that her works and knowledge which she has brought to the world will be understood by mankind maybe in 100 years. Helena Petrovna Blavatsky was born in Yekaterinoslav, now Dnipro, Ukraine, on August 12th, according to the Gregorian, 1831. Some time has passed, and this woman remains in the memory of mankind as the great teacher, the thinker, the writer, the philosopher, the author of books, the secret doctrine, and the exposed Izida. To understand the scale of the identity of Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, it is enough to remember people who respected her incredibly highly, talked about her as a great teacher, as a person who has deeply affected their life and creativity. Names such as Rabindranath Tagore and Mahatma Gandhi would be very happy to touch the edge of the dress of Madame Blavatsky. Names such as Scriabin, Maximilian Voloshin, Kandinsky, Andrei Bely, and many representatives of the Silver Age in our culture and our history. The beginning of the Silver Age is usually referred to as beginning in the 1890s. It is necessary to mention Albert Einstein. It is necessary to mention Edison, who, by the way, was a member of the Theosophical Society. And this is the important fact. If we think about the present time, the restoration of the Blavatsky home certainly leads us to the fact that we will fully realize and pay tribute to the name and heritage of our great compatriot. Helena Blavatsky published the first secret doctrines on which all religions are based. She made the first attempt to give a religious and philosophical synthesis of all centuries and nations. It has caused the awakening of religious consciousness of the ancient East and opened to the West the wisdom of the East. She logically proved the importance of morals and a brotherhood and embodied not the fantastic but concrete idealism, penetrating into all areas of life. Helena Blavatsky's doctrine is unique. By and large, it is difficult to find in the history of culture and philosophy of a parallel to Helena Blavatsky. On the one hand, she revealed the depths of human knowledge, a spiritual, holistic view of the world known to the ancients. And on the other hand, she presented a modern worldview, which synthesized, summarized, and united modern achievements of science and history. And all this has furnished a productive, evolutionary level of knowledge for modern humanity. She dedicated her life to theosophy, the divine wisdom. She, together with Henry Steele Olcott and William Quan Judge, formed the International Theosophical Society, the purpose and objectives of which was the creation of the universal brotherhood of humanity, without distinction of race, creed, sex, caste, or color, and the study of ancient and modern religions, philosophies, and sciences, the investigation of the unexplained laws of nature and the psychic powers latent in man.
The question should be asked, what is the International Theosophical Society? The University of Britain gives us the answer. It reads, the Theosophical Society was founded by Madame Blavatsky and Colonel Olcott in New York in 1875. In 1882, the headquarters of the society was established in Adyar, near Madras, now Chennai, in India. Theosophy was a philosophy combining mysticism and spiritualism with metaphysics. The society was fashioned as a brotherhood and promoting unity, The society was also concerned with preparing the world for the coming of the world teacher when he arrived on earth. Now that we know what the Theosophical Society is, we should note its mission. 1. A brotherhood promoting unity and to prepare the world for the world teacher. These points we will go into deeper a bit later in the video.
Theosophy is not itself the brainchild of Madame Blavatsky. This is an ancient doctrine rather than a phenomenon of Western culture. Theosophy arose in the depths of antiquity as the Neoplatonic philosophical school and runs through the whole history of European philosophy.
So as we just heard, Madame Blavatsky was not the brainchild of Theosophy, but it was inherited through Neoplatonism. But what is Neoplatonism? Stanford's Encyclopedia of Philosophy informs us. It reads, the term Neoplatonism refers to the philosophical school of thought that first emerged and flourished in the Greco-Roman world of late antiquity, roughly from the time of the Roman imperial crisis to the Arabic conquest, i.e. the middle of the 3rd and the middle of the 7th century, in consequence of the demise of the ancient materialist or corporalist thoughts such as Epicureanism and Stoicism. Neoplatonism became the dominant philosophical idea of the period, offering a comprehensive understanding of the universe and the individual human being placed in it. Again, Stanford Encyclopedia gives us some historic background. It reads, rightly or wrongly, the Egyptian-born Plotinus is commonly regarded as the founder of Neoplatonism. He was a pupil of the Alexandrian philosopher Amminus Saccah, who reportedly did not publish any and remains one of the most enigmatic philosophers of antiquity. Around 245, at the age of 40, Plotinus moved from Alexandria to Rome and founded a school of philosophy there. At first, his instructions too was entirely oral, until his most talented pupil, Porphyry, persuaded him to commit his seminar to the page. After Plotinus' death, Porphyry edited and published these writings, having arranged them in a collection of 6 books consisting of 9 essays each. So she, Blavatsky, was more of a modern-day purveyor or prophet for the Theosophical Society, which teachings she inherited from ancient Rome. But who else ascribes to such a teaching? Britannia.com reads as follows. Theosophy, a cult movement, originated in the 19th century with roots that can be traced to ancient Gnostic and Neoplatonism. The term theosophy derives from the Greek theos, God, and sophia, wisdom, is generally understood to mean divine wisdom. Forms of this doctrine were held in antiquity by the Machians, an Iranian dualist sect, in the Middle Ages by 2 groups of dualist heretics, the Bogomils in Bulgaria and the Byzantine Empire, and the Cathari in southern France and Italy. In modern times, theosophical views have been held by Rosicrucians and by the speculative Freemasons. The international New Age movement of the 1970s and 80s originated among independent theosophical groups in the United Kingdom. Blavatsky, in her book Isis Unveiled, 1878, gives us some insight to more groups who have adopted the theosophical viewpoint. It reads, it is curious to note too that most of the bodies which work these, such as the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, the Rite of Avignon, the Order of the Templar, Fessler's Rite, the Grand Council of the Emperors of the East and West, Sovereign Prince Mason, etc., etc., are nearly all the offsprings of the son of Ignatius Loyola, the Baron Hunt, Chevalier Ramsay, Vysotsky Zevernov, and numerous others who founded the grade in these writs, worked under instruction from the general of the Jesuit. The nests which these high degree were hatched, and no Masonic writ is free from their baleful influence, more or less, was the Jesuit College of Clermont at Paris. That bastard foundling of Freemason, the ancient and accepted Scottish writ, which is unrecognized by the Blue Lodge, was the enunciation primarily of the brain of the Jesuit Chevalier Ramsay. It was brought by him to England in 1736 to 38 to aid the cause of the Catholic Stuart. So from this reading, we can gather that Theosophy was and is adopted by Ignatius Loyola, who was the founder of the Jesuit order. We can also learn that all other secret societies are offsprings of the Jesuit order. And point 3, their, meaning the secret societies, their aim was to push the aim of the Catholic Stuarts, and a Stuart means the royal house that rules Scotland or Britain. Therefore, we can conclude that the Catholic Stuarts are the ruling heads or the ruling individuals of that system. As we discovered earlier, the society is concerned with promoting unity and preparing the world for the coming of the world teacher. This should arouse some questions. Who is this world teacher? And how does this organization get the world to comply with their ideologies? As we look at the graph, we see that there is a large portion of the world's population that do not ascribe to Theosophy. Here poses a problem for the Theosophical Society. How are they going to get the whole world to embrace their world teacher and to unite with an organization that is contrary to their religious beliefs? If I told you they already had this figured out, would you believe me? To convince you, we would go to 2 sources. One, The Economist 2019, and the Bible. The Economist is an international weekly newspaper that focuses on current affairs, international business, policies, and technology. And this issue in particular was published November 22nd, 2019. Previously, I would have done a video dealing with some of the symbolism contained in this magazine. Today, we will be focusing on one in particular. Here we see what can only be described as the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which is derived from the Bible. But it seems like the Economists got the order of these horsemen wrong. Or did they? Revelation, speaking of the 4 horsemen, reads as follows: And I saw and beheld a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him, and power was given unto them over the 4 parts of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth. My question is, why did the Economist publish this material? What message were they trying to portray? And did they make a mistake in their illustration of the four horses of the apocalypse, for there are glaring discrepancies in their depiction. Based on the Bible, the four horsemen should be depicted starting from the left and ending in the right, but The Economist flips the script and they start from the right and end in the left. From the right, they began with the rider with the bow and ends in the left with the rider whose name was Death. Secondly, the second horse from the right looks like the Statue of Liberty with a mask, and instead of having a torch in her hand, she has a sword. Be it as it may, can the Bible help us to put some sense to this? I believe so. The book of Revelation reads, "And the beast or the kingdom which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon, pagan Rome, gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death." This beast that was wounded to death was the Roman papal power. And I believe the first horse and its rider represents Rome, papal Rome. Again, Revelation continues, "And I beheld another beast or another kingdom coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." This beast speaks of America. America coming up as a lamb or a Christian nation, but at some time thereafter it will speak as a dragon or a persecuting power, which I believe could be represented by the second rider, which looks like the Statue of Liberty and has a sword in its hand. Again, Revelation reads, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." I believe that this is represented by the third horse, and gives us some insight into the state of the economy at the time of or thereafter America speaks like a dragon. Again, the Bible reads, "For such as false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." Again, the Bible reads, "Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things? And now ye know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity do already work. Only he who letteth will let, until it be taken out of the way. And when the wicked or the lawless one be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders." I believe the message portrayed by the fourth horse represents and or depicts a society at a time where Satan himself, in conjunction with the beast's power, will have established their new world order. Again, let us be reminded that the Theosophical Society are working towards unity of all religions, and the expectant return and preparation for the world teacher. This is why Christ says in Matthew 24 the following, "For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he, Christ, is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chamber, believe it not. For as lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even to the west, so also shall the coming of man be. So therefore there will be a false appearance of Christ." and this false appearance will be done by none other than this so-called world teacher, who is the backbone and organ of the Theosophical Society. The University of Britain highlights an article published by the Theosophical Society, and it is entitled Lucifer. It reads, Lucifer was the organ of the Theosophical Society in Britain. It was a monthly journal that included articles about theosophical teachings and philosophies. The journal also reported upon theosophical activities. The Bible highlights that Rome will once again regain world dominance. This it does through America. Could this picture be portraying the enemy's plan to once again rule the world? And could the Pope really be behind this? Is he really a part of some secret organization that is posing as a Christian?
Joining us from Rome is Father Arturo Sosa, the Superior General of the Society of Jesus. Welcome to the podcast, Father Sosa.
Hello, how are you?
Very well. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. I know you have a busy week, and in fact, we're meeting with Pope Francis just a couple days ago. Is that right?
That's right. You are very well informed.
The picture was on Twitter, and it looked like you were having fun. But so we do have to ask, since you are the Superior General of the Jesuits, and Pope Francis is our first Jesuit Pope, who's in charge between the two of you? Do you report to him, or does he report to you?
He is the Pope. So it's very clear.
But he's still a Jesuit.
Every Jesuit reports to the Pope, mm-hmm. And it is maybe to explain that when a Jesuit becomes a bishop, the obedience is not anymore for the superiors of the society. No, the bishop depends on the Pope, and the Pope depends on himself, on the Spirit, the Spirit, the Spirit, the Spirit, the Spirit, the Spirit. So, because as you maybe remember, Ignatius de Loyola used to call the Pope the Vicar of Christ in earth. So he's the Pope. So I'm accountable to him.
Then, from what we previously learned, all other secret society, which are an offspring of Jesuitism, must also have their allegiance to the Pope. I am yet to answer my question. How will the papacy or the Theosophical Society cause the whole world to accept their theosophical view when the largest portions of the earth consist of Christians and Muslim believers and everything in between? To understand this, you must stay tuned.
Who made billions out of creating super clunky corporate software. What you didn't realize is that Bill Gates doesn't think of himself that way. Bill Gates doesn't think of himself as some guy who got super rich making bad software. Bill Gates thinks of himself as God.